fellow crafters, this is Yana Smakula for SimonsSTM.com. Welcome back for another Yippee for Yana episode. Today I have a summary card to share featuring Simon's new, absolutely fantastic Sea and Sky Cling background stamp set. Here's a look at this set, and I'm telling you guys, it is genius, really. First of all, this is a very large stamp set. It measures 6 by 7.5 inches. And here I have an A2 panel so that you can really see the size of the stamp. You can, of course, use it for an A2 card, for a landscape or a portrait card. You can use it for a mini slimline and even for a regular slimline, which makes this stamp very versatile. Now, I keep saying that this is a set. Now, that's because this stamp has 3 parts. So technically, it's not just one stamp, it's a stamp set. See on the back? Each section is separate, making it very easy to use. So you have the beach section, or the land section. Then there's the sea, or the water section in the middle, and the sky section at the top. You can use all of these together, but you can also use these alone with other products from your stash. Definitely the sky can be used alone, and the sea can also be easily combined with other products. I think that this stamp set is very clever, it is very well designed, and I hope that Simon will do more stamps like this in the future. I'm going to quickly show you how you can use this set, and then I'll show you the card that I made using it. So first, I'm going to stamp the background on white cardstock. I'm using my MISTI stamping tool, and I'm going to use the pale blush pink color from Simon for the sand just to try something different. I love how this looks, and I love that shoreline. It is very beautiful. I stamped this part several times, and I'm now going to let the ink dry and absorb into the paper. It will even out in a few minutes, even though it looks very splotchy at the moment. Next, I've aligned the middle section, the sea, and I'm going to stamp it in Copic marker friendly ink. I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black. And next, I'm going to color it with Copics to have different color waves. So that's one way to use it. Stamp the outline in black ink and color it in. I also heat embossed it in white embossing powder on white cardstock and ink blended Simon's MALIBLUE and AUDREY blue inks to create a very soft looking sea. That's what I did for the card that I'm creating today. When I did the ink blending, I did it on a separate piece of paper and I just then cut it out using scissors and layered that over the sky. That was easier than having to mask the sky on my card. Now here, for this background, I wanted to try a funky sky color. So I stamped the sky in Rosy Cheeks color from Simon, and it looks kind of fun. Not your typical sky, of course, but something a little bit different and kind of fun. Now, I didn't use this particular background, but I wanted to show you this concept of using Copic markers. Or you can use any other coloring medium to color the waves in. I just picked some colors from my stash and quickly colored the waves, skipping some sections and keeping them white to mimic sea foam. Now here's another background where I used a much lighter colors for a much softer look. Again, I didn't use this background, but I still wanted to show it here to give you more ideas on how you can use this stamp set. Like I mentioned, I ink blended the waves from my card using MALIBLUE and AUDREY blue inks from Simon. I wanted a very soft and pale sea, and I fussy cut the sea line or the horizon line, so I ended up with 2-part background for my card. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute here. Now I set my backgrounds aside and I worked on a sentiment for my card. I stamped one that reads, "See you soon. My love for you is bigger than the ocean." I love these sweet sentiments. They don't necessarily have to be for a loved one. They can just as easily work for a card for a friend. I first stamped both sentiments in black ink on white cardstock, and I cut out the sub-sentiment from this panel. Now, the main sentiment was white heat embossed on black cardstock and cut out using a coordinating die. Here's a close-up of that sentiment. Now, let's go back to our backgrounds. Here you can see that there are 2 panels. There's a sky, stamped in Simon's Cloudy Sky ink, and there's a sea and a beach panel. I also have a circle here, and that works as a sun for this card. The circle was cut out from one of the previously stamped panels, so the color of the sun here matches the color of the beach on my card. I didn't want to use yellow here, it didn't work with the other colors I was using, so I made a pale pink sun instead. I trimmed my sky part a little bit. I wanted to have a lot of the sky show on my card, but I also wanted to have some of the beach show, so I needed to trim the sky a little bit. With this stamp set, if you're making an A2 card, and this is what I am making, you have to decide if you want to have more of the sky or more of the beach to show. I wanted to have more sky here, so I started by adhering the sky portion onto the card. Next, I added my sea and beach panels, and then I tucked the sun in between the two panels using glue. I love this look. I used my paper trimmer and cut the excess paper off, and now you can really see the beauty of this stamp set. You can see the background on my little A2 card. I die cut 4 additional blank sentiments from black cardstock, and I stuck them together to add a little bit of dimension. I used my Barely Art glue. I love this glue. The nozzle is so very fine, and the glue is quite runny, allowing me to easily add glue even to small and delicate die cuts such as this one. I also added foam adhesive squares behind the sub-sentiment panel as I wanted to pop that one up as well. Next, I stamped several seagulls using the images from the same Seas and Greetings stamp set. That's the stamp set where the sentiments come from. And I used my VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and then I cut the images out using the coordinating dies. Now here's a little trick I used. I wanted to pop the seagull die cuts up on my card, but I didn't want to fuss around with cutting the foam squares into small pieces, so I just die cut the foam squares using the coordinating die. The seagull is a little bit bigger than the foam square. I used the large foam square, but that's okay. There's plenty of foam adhesive here to provide adequate support for this teeny tiny die cut piece. I foam mounted my seagulls onto the card. I adhered the sentiments. And finally, I embellished my card with some sparkling clear sequins from Pretty Pink Posh. I love those on all of my cards. So here's a look at this card made with the Simon Says Stamp Sea and Sky stamp set. I hope this video has given you some ideas on how you can use this stamp set, and I hope you feel inspired to create. Thanks so much for joining me today. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time.